كيف الصراع أثر على حياتك؟ كيف الصراع يعني كيف المشاكل بين الإسرائيليين والفلسطينيين أثر عليك؟
مش عارف ما بعرفش اجاوب هيك.
I don't really know what to say. يعني what if we say how has the
Okay, ask him the one.
he's gonna answer something.
ممكن شغله بلا نفسيه الواحد والله مكبوت
Maybe it's
دائما
something psychological
مشاكل
and he's always depressed or under pressure because the roads are closed and we can't live our lives as youth.
How has the conflict affected you personally?
Which conflict you mean?
The Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And you can...
Actually, I was 5 years when my father was like very young when the conflict starts.
Okay.
It's not 67, if you mean that.
Whatever, you understand it any way you want and explain.
Actually,
how does it affect you?
It's a long-term
Okay.
conflict. First of all, it affected me by evacuating my family from its original village.
Okay, from? Where? Where is that?
It's near Ramle,
Okay. Which is the name?
Abu Shusha.
Abu Shusha? Okay.
And the second stage was not easy because my father had to start from scratch or a little bit below scratch. And he managed to build himself to build a contracting company, and then 67 war came and the West Bank was occupied where we lived at that time. Of course, the conflict affect all the aspects of my life. My freedom of movement, my freedom of movement. I think it's the hardest thing because it's an everyday issue. But many other things, economically and politically, it's endless. I mean, the list.
Okay, can you give me an example? Because you're a businesswoman.
For example, I cannot import freely as my counterparts, the Israeli counterparts.
Okay, what do you import?
There is different procedures for us to import and to export.
Okay.
There is long procedure. Most of it's related to security, and we know that the international law. Especially in this issue, there is treaties for landlocked countries. Okay, we are supposedly not to be landlocked because Gaza is a sea city, but it's, there is no port now in Gaza. We cannot import through our ports in Gaza. So we have to import through the Israeli ports, which we find mostly difficulty in the procedures related to that.
Okay. Can you give me an example of a procedure that Palestinians need to do that your Israeli counterparts that you know? You know of that?
From what I know, that we need the extensive security check, and they don't need. In their case, it's random and it's very rare.
Yeah.
We need the technical check for every item we bring, and we need the standard, the Israeli standard institute stamp, and they don't because they are well informed and we are not. We don't know about the changes in the situation. I mean, the changes of the procedures.
They don't inform you.
We don't know,
Okay.
and they know. So we have delays, and it costs money.
What do you import?
Actually, I was the chairperson of the Shippers Council, which we do represent importers and exporters. So I know about mostly all items that's imported. And there's a big issue concerning that. It's very much cost effective. You can ask about the effect on women, especially on women.
Okay.
How it affects women more.
Okay. So what did you want to say about two?
I will talk from the angle of, first, my personal angle. I don't get any permission to get to Jerusalem unless I get invitation. There's no easy movement to visit the project through Wadi Nar, through to Bethlehem. The checkpoints all over the places, even if I want to go to Nablus. I want to go just outside Ramallah sometimes, a quick checkpoint that delays you 3-4 hours for your meeting. As simple as that. For them, it's one what do we call it? 3-4 soldiers. They feel so bored. It's okay. Let's stop the car and put a quick flying checkpoint. But for us, it's a very important meeting. So this is a very kind of delay. But I'm the CEO of Business Women Forum. And we serve businesswomen and at the same time women entrepreneurs starting their own business. You have to listen to see what kind of obstacles they face. You know, if they want to import or bring even raw materials, it's very expensive. If they want to export, even thinking of developing the business to reach out for the
It increased the
it's very hard for them, since the main obstacles facing women in Palestine from the point of view of from a business, the movement, the what we call resources of raw materials, usually it brings the cost very higher. So they're not competing anymore because the same product in Israel, the businesswomen in Israel, they sell it. The profit margin is much higher, so they survive. There's kind of sustainability, easy to do a job, easy to promote their business. Everything here for these women, it deprives, you know, the business itself at the early stages. Our businesswomen are survivors to survive and to develop the business. From another point of view, there's a lot of opportunities for trainings. We have to go to the region and sometimes to look for good resources on an international level or regional level for resource of information. Access to information is hard.
Okay.
Starting the business in such an economical, political instability is very hard. We see from our experience with these women how hard, even if we want to do like a big exhibition in Jerusalem. There's a very good market in Jerusalem. We can't do it unless there's a lot of struggle. We want to work in Gaza. We can't work in Gaza.
Yeah.
We can't serve the entrepreneurs in Gaza as we do it inside the limited areas we have.
Yeah.
Many problems. We postponed many events because there was a closure, immediate closure. So delegates from Hebron, delegates from Nablus, from Jenin, they couldn't come to this kind of workshop. From the point of view also from the export level, if these women, sometimes from Gaza, one of the entrepreneurs won, she was in the business plan competition. We want her to win an exchange visit to Jordan, but it's very short that in 3 days we have to move. She can't leave. It needs a full 1 month process with Beit Il to get her out of Gaza. This kind of limitation because of the conflict. And you know, when the Israeli partners, they say businesswomen, we want to meet with businesswomen in Palestine. Come on. You're in a complete different zone and you're comparing yourself as businesswoman. All the doors are open for you with the businesswoman who all the doors are closed for her and she's striving in order to
Well, maybe they can help you.
look, from economical background, if economic is completely ruled by politics. Because of these committees that are happening in order to serve better economical situation, I don't believe personally. I don't believe in any. I was invited personally to be on a very important committee. I refused because what happens on the table.
Where a political committee? You mean?
No,
Here?
economical,
Okay, but-
regional with Egypt, Jordan, Turkey, and Palestine.
Okay.
And I refuse personally. I refuse because I don't believe whatever is solutions on the table, it will never come true to the ground, on the ground, because it's ruled by political. I don't want to solve the issue of me personally getting a permission. I meet these people, we talk, I can get into Tel Aviv easily. It's not my problem. I serve thousands of businesswomen, thousands of entrepreneurs that they are suffering, and this kind of negotiation doesn't help. Thank you.
How has the conflict between Israel and Palestinians, how has it affected you personally? You want to say?
Okay, it has affected on us, like we don't have that freedom to go everywhere we want.
Okay. So where do you want to go? Give an example of where you want to go.
A simple example, we need an airport. That's it. Airport.
Oh, even just that?
We don't have airport to go to another countries.
Okay.
Yeah, we must have to Jordan to go. We don't have that freedom.
Okay. Someone else?
Yeah, and we also need, to go to places like we need to go to the beach. We need to go to the sea. We don't have these things.
Okay.
Bethlehem is really small. We need a permission, and we get the permission only in Easter and Christmas, and it's really hard. They on the border they بعذبونا. Yeah, we suffer on the border.
At the checkpoints.
Yes, at the checkpoints. That's it. It's really hard, It's hard because we spend a lot of time on the border to go there.
Do you believe in a two-state solution? Do you want this to be Palestine and that to be Israel?
We want freedom. We want to live in peace. We can live with the Israeli people, We can live with them. We want the peace.
Okay.
The question was?
No, I just asked if they want a two-state solution. Because if in a two-state solution,
For me, it's like I don't have any problem to live with the Jew people. My problem is with the Israeli government, the occupation. That's our.
no, but if there was no occupation here in Bethlehem,
Yeah, we would have no problems.
but you still couldn't go to the sea.
We need to have permission to go.
You would need, it's a different country. Yeah.
No, we want to live in peace.
Yes.
We want to live in a country with them. There's no problem to live with them unless there's peace. We don't want the war. We don't want to get shot by them. We want our rights.
Okay. And your rights include going to the sea.
Not only the sea.
No, but it's one.
And we may have cousins there. We may have. It's hard to go and see them. You
Okay.
know?
Would you agree to live if this was all Israel? Would you agree to live in there? Still one state. It's just.
I would never choose to be an Israeli.
No. Why?
I don't know why. I would never choose to be an Israeli, but I don't have any problem to live with it.
Okay.
My blood is Palestinian.
What?
My blood is Palestinian.
الصراع الفلسطيني الإسرائيلي أثر عليكي شخصيا، وكيف برأيك أثر على الجهة الثانية اللي هم الإسرائيليين؟
يعني شخصية
عفوا؟
بشكل شخصية
Personally? Yes.
أنا بمنع مثلا السفر للداخل وهيك، إنه مثلا لما يدخل على البيوت
It stops us from traveling inside Israel. They break into our homes.
Did that happen to her personally or her family?
هل هذا الشيء؟
Yeah.
إنه حصل معنا.
Okay.
It happened to us.
إيش؟ إيش الثاني؟
كيف هذا الشيء أثر على الجهة الثانية الضرب؟
الثاني من الإسرائيلية. كيف الصراع الفلسطيني الإسرائيلي أثر على الطرف الثاني وكيف أثر عليك شخصيا؟
علي شخصيا انه هلا الصراع الفلسطيني والاسرائيلي بالنسبه لهم
الإسرائيلية.
هناك بيعطوا هم يعني كاسرائيليين بيعطوا اهميه كبيره للمستوطن او اليهودي مثلا.
So then the Israelis give a lot of weight and importance to the person and to the settlers.
يعني لما بتشوفي اي خدي اي مثال صار من قبل لما بصير
Any example that happened before.
مثل المستوطن، يعني اقول لك شيء حديث، المستوطن اللي قبل اسبوعين تقريبا اختفى على اساس انه هو خبى حاله، فهم ظنوا انه اختفى.
The settler that hid himself 2 weeks ago. They thought that he was kidnapped, but he just hid himself.
وقتيتها اعتقلوا عشرات الفلسطينيين.
And then they, at that time, when this happened, they arrested tens of Palestinians.
وبعديها
That's something that personally happened to her. That's something.
أنا قصدي شيء صار معك أنت شخصيا.
لا شخصيا ما صار شيء شخصي.
ما أثر عليك الصراع الفلسطيني بأي شكل من الأشكال.
لا بشكل من الاشكال اكيد، يعني انا ما صراحه ما بقدر.
happened, but then I asked her, it hasn't affected you in any way whatsoever, so
ما بقدر على فكره اروح على القدس لانه كثير قدمنا تصاريح.
Jerusalem, I have applied for many permissions تصريح.
وبسبب يعني انا عائلتي اسمها يعني في علاقه باسيد، فما بيخلونا كثير نروح، فهمت علي؟
The
التصاريح
name of my family is connected or is the same family name that a prisoner has.
فما بيخلونا نروح على القدس، يعني انا من زمان كثير مش رايحه والتصاريح كثير صعب نروح، فهذا بيخليكي انه تحسي ان انت محبوسه.
It's been such a long time since I've been to Jerusalem and permissions are impossible, so this makes you feel imprisoned.
Okay. How does is there another example or how does it affect? How does she think it affected the Israelis?
أو برأيك كيف الصراع أثر على الإسرائيليين؟
ما اظن على فكره بيأثر عليهم، هم عايشين وماخذين راحتهم.
I don't think it affects them because they're living their lives and they're
هو
comfortable.
يعني هم يعني كل الاشياء اللي بيعملوها الاسرائيليين لصالحهم، فما بتحسي حياتهم كثير مأثر عليها.
Everything that the Israelis do is for their own benefits, so you don't feel or think that they're affected by the conflict.
كيف الصراع والاحتلال أثر عليك كبني آدم حياتك؟ كيف بإيش مضايقك الاحتلال أكثر شيء كإنسان بغض النظر؟
لا ما هو أول شيء لازم نفرق إنه بين اليهود والاحتلال نفسه.
أكيد طبعا.
اليهود كانوا موجودين. يعني إذا بدنا
We have to distinguish between Jewish and occupation. Jewish were exiled here from Moses' time and from long time ago.
إجا من مصر.
أكيد.
هم وجودهم عادي مش مضر لنا.
وجودهم their existence here is fine. I don't care about it. I like it. I don't care. But
بس أفعالهم
but their behaviors
سواء
and their government
كأوروبيين طردوهم كمان. ماشي. في كل العالم منبوذين.
Okay, but the Jewish behaviors are so like weird and bad. Even in Europe, they were like behaving badly, and that's why they what happened to them in Europe.
The Nazis.
Yeah.
In the Holocaust.
ببساطة هم ما عندهم قناعة إنه شعب الله المختار هم أفضل.
And I think this is because they have this is in their mind that they're like the best people on the earth and they're God people and they're God chosen people.
Okay, but how has the conflict affected him personally? What's happened
بس
to him?
انت ما جاوبتش انه انت كخلدون ايش الاحتلال بايش مضايقك يعني؟ هل انه دكانك كذا كان ممكن يكون احسن وفيش احتلال؟ هل مثلا
لا الحرية طبعا. يعني مثلا انا امبارح رحت على ريحة. كويس. انا عشت في عمان، رحت على سوريا، رحت على العراق، يعني انا كبير عمري مش صغير 45 سنة بس مرتاح شفت شغلات اولادي ما شافوهمش. امبارح رحت على ريحة على الإسبانية بطلع شو الألعاب اللي بيلعبوها تافهة يعني.
The freedom of traveling. For example, yesterday I felt really sad because I took my kids to Jericho and I was thinking that this is the only like place where they can go and have fun. It's nothing. I am older, so before that I used to go to many places and I used to enjoy time. So what's affecting me in this like occupation that day by day there's more restriction on freedom of traveling and the kids are not enjoying anything. They're not going anywhere.
يعني الفكرة الرئيسية
The main idea is
إنه أنا كحرية إلي
I have no freedom.
ماشي بس المستقبل لاولادي
Yeah. No, for me, I had the freedom before. I had the freedom when I was young. So I want the same freedom for my kids. And I know now there is no freedom for them. Like it's also.
So, how did the Israeli-Palestinian conflict affect him personally?
كيف أثر عليك الصراع الفلسطيني الإسرائيلي شخصيا؟
هلا انا شخصيا انا برازيلي الاصل. صار لي هون عايش في هاي البلاد 9 سنين.
I am originally a Brazilian and I have been living here for 9 years.
انا عشت 7 سنين في اسرائيل وهلا سنتين في فلسطين.
I have been living for 7 years in Israel and now I have been here for 2 years.
Okay.
ماشي.
و انا رجل دين.
I'm a priest.
فانا بشوف انه علينا كمواطنين في هذه البلاد ان نبني جسر للسلام بين هذول الشعبين.
As people living in this country, we have to build a bridge between these two people.
ومنحول انه نقيم الافكار المسبقه اللي فيه من شعب لشعب ثاني.
And we have to remove the
prejudice, no?
Prejudice.
the prejudices, that exist between the two peoples.
Has he been involved? Like, has anything happened to him in the conflict? Like,
هل حدث لك أنت شيء أثناء الصراع؟ حدث لك أنت شخصيا شيء؟
أحداث صغيرة.
Small events.
Like, can you give an example?
مثلا لما أنا بروح على القدس مرات ولازم أمر من معبر كلانديا وهناك كانوا يرموا حجار ايش كمان غاز مسيل الدماء.
And I have to go through the checkpoint of Kalandia and they throw tear gas and they throw rocks.
So I have participated, you know, a little bit in this conflict.
Okay.
But I'm sure, no, that it's also in
English
directly, no.
Yeah.
So, but I'm sure that the problem of men is not something it have to do with external things, because man is more than external things. Man is what he has in his heart. We have to enter. We have to arrive in the heart of man and discover what is the problem of man. Of the real problem is not because the problem that we have here. We have also many problems now in Africa, in Asia, in Brazil, also in South America. But there is one common thing, that who is man? How the man is suffering? Man is suffering. Why? Okay, no problem. So if you have also another question,
no, that's it. How has the conflict, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, affected you personally?
كيف الصراع الفلسطيني الإسرائيلي أثر عليك شخصيا؟
أنا مش كتير بأمور السياسة، مش كتير أنا بأمور السياسة.
مش بالسياسة، يعني أنت كيف أثر عليكي؟ على حياتك، على تنقلك؟
تنقلك كتير يعني بأثر، يعني لو فيش إسرائيل كان إحنا هلا.
How has it affected your life, your movement? It has affected my movement a lot because had there not been Israel.
لو ما في إسرائيل هلا إحنا نقدر نروح ونيجي وما بدنا، يعني بدون ما مثلا عم مثال إنه بالجامعة بيعطلوا علينا الجامعة اللي بيجوا بيدرسوا من مدن تانية على جامعتنا.
أي جامعة؟ نجاح. For example, when we want to go to university, those who come from outside to our university, I say which university is it? Said Najah here in Nablus. They delay them.
Okay. Who come from outside from where though?
مثلا اللي بيجوا من برا، كيف يعني بيجوا من برا؟
من دم الله. في مثل كلام.
Oh, meaning the Israeli soldiers at the checkpoints. Okay.
قصدك الجنود اللي على الحاجز؟
أكيد يعني مثلا هذا بشكل مشكلة أكيد يعني بالنسبة للطلاب.
This causes a problem for students.
Does it happen to her?
هذا الشيء بيصير معك؟
أنا عانيت منه تقريبا سنة.
I suffered from this for a year.
بعدين رجعت سكنت في نابلس.
And then I came and lived in Nablus.
بس انا بشوف يعني زملائي في الجامعه يعني مثلا بيكون محاضره الساعه 8 بيجوا
In
متاخرين
university, when we have a lecture at 8 o'clock, they would come late
بلاقيهم حاجز صدفه يعني
because they might find a checkpoint by coincidence according to the mood of the soldiers.
بتخيل لو انه يعني ما في اسرائيل لانه احنا هلا هناخذ كل فلسطين
I
إلنا.
imagine if there wasn't Israel, we would have all of Palestine to us.
How does she think the conflict has affected the Israeli side?
كيف برأيك الصراع أثر على الإسرائيليين أو على الجهة الإسرائيلية؟
بتخيل ما اثر عليهم بالعكس يمكن مبسوطين بياخذوا قاعدين باراضينا بزياده.
I don't think it affected them. I think they're happy. On the contrary, I think they're happy. They're taking more of our lands.
Okay.
يعني بتخيل هم كانوا في ما لهم مكان يجمعهم كل اليهود.
Because they had no place to gather them all together.
أخذوا فلسطين.
So they took Palestine.